What's the most supernatural experience you've ever had? My remote once jumped off the TV by itself when I was watching with my girlfriend. Didn't fall or slide off, we actually saw it take a leap as if somebody threw it. We both just sat there being really confused before even questioning it out loud. Edit. Arg sorry. I went to bed after writing this and just woke up to like 60 messages asking to see the video. I actually have two, and was a few weeks after the other. Please excuse my stupid commentary on the videos as I really only filmed them to show my parents. Beep. These kinda stories are always the creepiest for me, the ones where you have someone else there to verify it really happened, and it wasn't your imagination. Not quite the same as your story, but I have a bunch of fairly lights set up in my room. Most of them are powered by USB and plug either into a spare plug, or directly into the USB socket of my extension lead. I have one set of fairy lights that keep lighting up by themselves. Initially it happened while they were plugged into the extension lead, but the lead was switched off so it shouldn't have been possible. I didn't think much of it, but the second time it happened I just took the USB lead out and left them totally unplugged. Since then, they have continued to randomly turn themselves on, and not just a brief flicker either, they are properly turned on and stay on. I've managed to capture it on video and show everyone they're unplugged too. My dad's an electrician and he thought it might be that they're picking up residual energy, but when he saw the video he was confused and said that they shouldn't be on for so long. Even weirder, I now keep waking up in the night to a totally different set of fairy lights in my room being turned on, despite them being off when I fall asleep. Starting to wonder what's happening, but the fact I can't brush it off as me just imagining it is definitely not helping. Solution: throw the lights out. Nope. Then you'd see them reappear after throwing them out. Then you'd know you're in trouble. When I was between the ages of 4 to 6, I used to see a little blonde boy through this mirrored armoire in my parents' bedroom. The armoire was big and wooden, but had mirrored accents and mirrors running all the way around the base. If I laid on the carpet in front of it and looked into the mirrors on the bottom, sometimes I'd see a little blonde boy in a red sweater in the corner of the room, far away and a little distorted but still very clear. He would sit with his back to me, looking out the windows to the backyard. I don't remember ever seeing his face. I don't think I saw him many times, but I do remember his image very clearly. In my little kid mind I thought I invented this super neat mirror trick by myself, so I tried to get my parents to see it too. They always refused, and my mom especially would get super mad at me for asking. I stopped seeing the boy when I stopped playing in their bedroom as much, and knew mirrors shouldn't work like that. When I got older I chalked it up to my overactive kid brain. Didn't think much of it tbh. Years and years later, when I was an adult and long after my parents had sold that house, my mom asked me about the armoire out of the blue, then told me that she used to see the little boy, too. Not hers, but sometimes just out the corners of her eyes and occasionally in dreams. Didn't happen too often, but just enough to deeply freak them out. So when I mentioned seeing the same little boy, my mom was just terrified herself. There were other strange stuff in that house, but this was 100% the most vivid I remember. This is as far as I'm scrolling. Good night. It's getting late and I am alone. Send help. Hey man, it's all good, we're all in the same boat. I head to YouTube and watch community bloopers, or to Make Me Cry to cleanse away the fear before bed. I've posted about this before, but when I was about 9 years old, 1995, in the middle of a bright summer day, I went to the refrigerator to get a popsicle. Suddenly a roughly teenage-looking guy, with long brown hair, wearing a beige turtleneck and red plaid bell-bottoms, turned around the corner into the hallway to my left, then vanished from toe to head as I looked at him. Told no one about it for years, until after my mother mentioned meeting the kids who lived in the house before us, who asked her if she'd seen the bell-bottom ghost. Ah, there's something sweet and non-terrifying about a ghost in red plaid bell-bottoms. It's like, yeah, we call him Greg. He's our bell-bottom ghost from the 1970s. At least the old-timey ghosts get to look fly in their period dress. Imagine if your restless spirit had to walk the earth forever in bell-bottoms. Plaid bell-bottoms. Do you get to pick what your ghost wears, or is it just whatever you die in? 'Cause I don't want my ghost to be wearing a tattered oversized t-shirt, socks, and no pants. Yeah, feel me? That would be an awkward afterlife. Maybe the lounge where ghosts just make a point of not appearing and leave the apparition stuff to the ones that died in fancy dresses and suits. When I was 16, an uncle passed unexpectedly. Weeks later, I had a dream about him and he told me to quit smoking cigarettes. A month or so later, I mentioned the dream to my parents and my dad started crying, got up and walked away. Apparently he dreamed of talking to his brother too, and he told my dad that he needed to talk to me. This happened to me, too. My grandpa died when I was 7. At some point I had a dream where he visited me. He said he was okay, that he was at peace. He told me he loved me and that he loved my grandma and that I should tell her so. When I woke up and told her, she cried, saying she had the same dream. I still get goosebumps. It's a little spooky, but it's really lovely and comforting in a way, too. Like these people cared enough to reach out to us after death. I used to do pest control. Went to a customer's business for the first time. As I walked in the office, I noticed some pictures that were supposed to be hanging on the wall were on the ground, and then saw some papers which looked like they had been thrown and scattered off a desk. I picked everything up so I could apply treatment to the floorboards and surrounding rooms. I then went to treat the only restroom in the office. I simply knocked on the door as a courtesy, as I always do before entering any restroom. There was no reply, for nobody was in there, so I went and applied treatment to the restroom and I closed the door behind me. As I walked away from the door, I know somebody grabbed the door handle, twisted open and opened the door. I turned around and looked to see nobody behind me but a door swinging open. The hair on my neck instantly stood up and I put two and two together. I grabbed my beep and ran downstairs. The receptionist saw me and started laughing. She asked me if I had met their little friend upstairs. It was a ghost. She told me she hears it walking around upstairs every day and they can't keep things on the walls or people's desk. They simply got used to it. What in the asterisk? How do people just casually accept that? You're telling me you don't have an office ghost? Yeah, but it's usually our. Not sure if this counts as supernatural, but here it goes. The summer after I graduated high school, I got a job delivering pizza to help save money for college. I had a lot of run-ins with some pretty weird characters, but nothing like what happened this one night. It was a Friday night. We deliver pizzas until 3 a.m. Fridays and Saturdays. It was 2:45 a.m. and we were preparing to close when our manager said we got a call for a delivery at a place almost 20 minutes away. Being the desperate for money teenager I offered to do the delivery. This was before smartphones had GPS, so I used a Garmin. I plugged in the address and off I went. The Garmin took me deep into the backwoods of rural Texas. I finally arrived to my destination. The house looked like something in a horror movie. Big wooden two-story house with no lights on. The first thing I noticed about the house was that the front door was wide open. I sat in my car for a few minutes debating on turning back and claiming no one was home. Something just didn't feel right. I needed the tip money, so I sucked it up and approached the house. When I got to the open front door, I didn't enter. Instead, I knocked. No one answered. I knocked again as loud as I could. No response. I finally got the courage to say something. Pizza delivery. Anyone home? There was a few seconds of silence until I heard a weird voice upstairs. I walked in the house and could barely make out my surroundings because it was so dark. I make it to the bottom of the stairs and look up into the dark abyss. Again I said, pizza delivery. The voice spoke again, come upstairs. I can't get out of bed. Something was very off about this voice. It didn't sound normal. The best I can describe it is if a dog somehow learned to talk but still had trouble pronouncing human words. The hair stood up on my neck. There was no beep way I was going up there. The tip wasn't worth it. I placed the pizza at the bottom of the stairs and shouted, I'm leaving it here at the bottom of the stairs. Have a good night. As I turned away, the voice said, no. Come upstairs. I can't get out of bed. I replied, I'm sorry, I'm not even allowed to enter someone's home on the job. You'll have to come get it. I heard some loud banging from upstairs with a voice shouting at full volume, come upstairs. I can't come out of bed. The voice shouted this over and over again like it was a recording on a loop. The banging got louder and louder as the voice got louder. I had to beep out of there at full speed. To this day I have no idea what the beep happened in that house. Edit. I was not expecting so many people to be interested in this story. I'll try to answer some common questions. They were supposed to pay by cash, so I guess they got the pie on the house. Beep. No, I never went back. Not even during the day. A lot of people are saying old or crippled person. Then who? The beep left the front door wide open. No, I didn't try to turn on the light. It was already so late, I just wanted to drop off the pizza and go home. A lot of you are talking about skinwalkers. I had to Google it, and I must say this story is a lot more creepier after reading about them. This was in spring, TX. This one gave me chills. My grandfather loved my grandmother a lot. He would constantly tell her she was beautiful and would always do embarrassing things to make her laugh. Unfortunately, she died a few months after being diagnosed with cancer. This affected him a lot, but as time went on he came to terms with it. My grandfather lived on for another 18 years. In his final years he developed really bad Alzheimer's that led him to forget that his wife had passed away and would often call for her or ask us where she went. We'd explain to him that she had passed away, but it always made him distressed and upset, so we decided to tell him she'll be back soon every time he asked where she was. A month or so before my grandfather passed away, I was at his house with my mother and we were all sitting in the living room. My grandfather, who was seated on his chair, all of a sudden starts frantically asking